Holy crap, that's good.
So much more than fun in games at the Cartoon Cabal. Beyond what's just in the name at the Cartoon Cabal. See just at what cost comes fame at the Cartoon Cabal. So much more than fun in games at the Cartoon Cabal.
Hey everybody, it's the Cartoon Cabal. We're having a look at Neon Genesis Evangelion here, looking for all its secrets, things right on the surface, things put in for funsies, all of those sort of things. Today it's episode 3, a transfer, the silent phone, the phone that wouldn't ring. There's lots of titles for this, it seems. Matt here, over there, it's Paranoid American, what it is.
I also have a phone that doesn't ring, but it's because I keep it on silent all the time.
Yeah, I mean, how many people have ringing phones these days, I guess is a good question. The phone, yeah, we don't have a landline in my house anymore, so I guess there's some of my family members have chimes that go off, but yeah, mine just vibrates.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because the whole premise of this episode is that Shinji has no friends and that he was given a phone, but his phone never rings, and it's kind of going to show that he's a complete social outcast despite saving humanity every day. And but there's kind of a paradox here, right? Because if you are so popular that your phone's always ringing, then you do turn the ringer off and then it never rings. So they're being kind of judgmental. Maybe they don't realize how many calls he is getting.
Yeah, it makes me think of the South Park episode "You Have Zero Friends," where there's some kid that has no Facebook friends. So I think it's Stan decides to become his Facebook friend. Then everyone drops him as a friend because he's made friends with the outcast.
It's like a Black Mirror episode,
something like that. Yeah, but it is. I mean, things that make more sense with. Well, I guess we do have cell phones here, so we are entering cell phone because there's so many plots in the past that could be like, solved by cell phones, right?
But this takes place in the future, does it not?
The future of the past, that's right. The future of 2015, living that back to the future sort of future, So
they didn't really have the mobile devices completely dialed in when they wrote this.
Oh no, these are the Star Trek communicator type ones, the K-tie, which were they rocking those in the 90s? Because this came out in 95. I think that phone he has does. See, it looks retro to us, but I think it's slightly futuristic for the production of the show.
The phone that he's given, it looks a lot like a car phone from the mid-90s.
Yeah, I thought, okay, maybe I'm just so used to seeing the smaller ones, like my mind just said that's a normal Japanese phone. But if I'd paid a little more attention, I would have been like, oh, that's a big. I felt like it looked kind of beat up, right? They gave him like a loaner, right?
Well, this is I can't remember if it was episode 1 or 2, but he goes to a payphone at a certain point. It's like, that's not 2015.
Actually,
right?
In Japan, I think we still had those green payphones. If I look around, I'll still find those at train stations and stuff. They still do have those here and there because there's the OG sign. Remember, most of Japanese population is now like getting older and older, right? So, I saw a guy with a 20-year-old cell phone at the station yesterday. My daughter just started high school this year, so she just got a phone. Before that, she'd call mom from the high school train station. They had a payphone. So, yeah. We still have payphones here and there. It's wild.
It is wild because of how technologically advanced the perception is from the outside. Like, you guys are supposed to have all the latest and greatest, too, no?
Here's the weird thing about Japan. It has cutting-edge tech. At the same time, change is extremely slow. Faxes are still sent at my company. Sorry to put that in the passive voice, but there's occasionally still a fax coming through, which I feel like Americans have not heard a fax coming through for 20 years.
I've had to do faxes, and it reminds me of how close we are to not that long ago.
There's only been a push in the past 2 years to make records digital, which I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of like maybe on paper is better sort of guy. Although now it's like, no, let's not waste paper. My company doesn't want to waste paper. So they're like, oh, we're not giving you the schedule anymore. We just gave you laptops. So look at your schedule on there. I'm like, that's great. But I also have the class I'm supposed to teach on the laptop. Right. So I just want a piece of paper with my schedule on it. That's all I want, right?
Well, even better, it'll just be the Neuralink, and then they'll just download it directly to you.
Oh well, the plus there is you can play like Royal Match or something while you're teaching the class, right? You can be doing and watching some BTS videos. You can do all of that at the same time.
Yeah, you're playing GTA 6 while you're teaching a class on ethics.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So let's all hail the Neuralink. Although you're mentioning with Shinji not making friends in this, and of course they bring up the hedgehog's dilemma here, right? That I guess the idea of prickly people hurt each other.
Yeah, hedgehog's dilemma. Basically, that when it gets cold, hedgehogs want to stay warm, so they all gather together for warmth. But when they get so close to each other, then they prick each other. So then they separate again, but then they get cold, so then they get closer. And eventually, what happens is they all find the optimal distance from each other to both be warm and also not hurt each other. And this has been brought up by Schopenhauer, by Freud, as the hedgehog's dilemma as applied to humans, that humans also basically, like, we're afraid of getting hurt and hurting other people, so we also only get so close to each other. So I guess they're describing that Shinji is sort of going through this particular phase. He's figuring this stuff out for himself for the first time.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say this, but maybe Shinji just actually has this dilemma with like the public at large. Because as the show goes on, I think people don't like Shinji that much in general. Like even big fans of the show are like, Shinji kind of sucks. Which so far he does.
So yeah, I mean, so far that's not easy to argue against.
Is he realistic? Yes, for sure. I have 14-year-old kids that are very much like this. I think I mentioned it before, but tomorrow night I have 3 bubbly first year of high school girls and this one like kind of black hole of a dude there, you know, who is very Shinji, you know, like.
They make a note too that when he's like doing all this training for his Eva, they're like, man, you just do whatever you're told, don't you? That's kind of, and it was almost said as like a derogatory way, but it's like, oh, that's just Shinji. Some people just do whatever they're told, and that's their personality. And I'm starting to get that from him. And he didn't really refute it very much. He's very much like, you go there and do that. Like they'll just, snap into place and go and do it, even if they don't want to.
I mean, he is his dad's tool. Who knows? Maybe we're going to find out he had some more ultra programming when Daddy was around as a kid.
I mean, wouldn't you? If you needed your kid to be able to synchronize immediately with tech and phase in and out of trances, it seems like you would have to MK Ultra them from birth.
Yeah, exactly. So I wonder if we will get. I don't really. It's the story for this is new to me. I'm just the iconography of the show is familiar, where we do see the Eva and like models and stuff, but you don't see too many Shinji toys and models when you see the Evangelion section in like a used store, or a toy store, or something, or a model shop, or whatever you call them. It's Rey after she heals and gets the cast off, and a few more lady pilots in their super sexy pilot outfits.
Yeah, why is that? Why don't we see more Shinji? I wonder.
And then he's got those little like head things which make him look like even derpier, right? Like I don't think that looks cool. What do you think?
I think that all he is kind of a pilot, and so far the only cool thing about him is his Eva. Like there's nothing about him in particular which is kind of interesting though, because usually when you've got a protagonist that's constantly saving the world from fallen, angels and demons, they tend to take on like a heroic quality. But here Shinji is still just as pathetic. And even the people, like there's a bully at school that knows that he is going out and saving humanity from fallen demons, and the bully still picks on him and beats him up. So I mean, I don't know, that's about as pathetic. What else could you do if you can't impress your bully by saving humanity and then piloting this badass mech? I don't know what else he's supposed to do. I was halfway hoping that he was gonna go on like a little side quest and just kill his bully, be like, there, how about that? And then goes and kills the angel in this one.
What are they going to say? They need him. He's the only guy that can, sync with these mechs. Ray's still got a broken arm, right?
Seriously. I mean, and there's really no one else that would be able to pull this off the same way.
And actually, like from the first couple episodes, Ray's age isn't completely clear, but now it's clear she's also in high school. So I guess you have to have like people that are not fully developed to pilot these things? Is that how you sync with them?
I gotta say, there was a and stop me if I've already brought this one up, but there was a documentary on Discovery in the mid 90s to the late 90s about StarCraft championship players in South Korea, and one of them had the highest APMs they've ever seen, which is actions per minute, which is like how many times you click a mouse or type a key or something. Like every one of those unique actions is like an APM, and this guy had an APM that was 4 to 5 times as much as the next highest person, and they put in him under like a brain scan analysis as he's playing this game, and they were actually able to see exactly how fast everything was going. And then I think like the day he turned 20, like once he aged out of being a teenager, it all sank right back down to kind of like the high average. Like he no longer was 4 to 5x. So there is something to be said that at a very young age, especially when it comes to controlling computers and robots and video games and stuff, that the younger you are, the faster you can operate this. And then as soon as you hit a certain age, that just falls right off a cliff.
I mean, that's kind of a pop culture thing too with movies, actresses. It's always like you hit 40, you're finished. See you, that's aging there. But but then musicians is like, man, did McCartney ever make anything as good as he made in the '60s, or that other guy who's McCartney? If that's the case, Although I will say, if Paul McCartney was replaced in '66 or '68, the second guy's a little more talented. So,
Wings.
No, I'm talking late Beatles, because if you go with the Paul is Dead theory, I think Sgt. Pepper's, the White Album, and Abbey Road all fall under the purview of Fall. So I'm like, okay, well, he's pretty talented too.
But doesn't Wings also fall in that same category? Because Wings came after all that.
5 years of real Paul McCartney, 5 years of the fake Paul and the Beatles, and then Wings. You get equal amounts of,
there's 3.
There could be 3. Yeah, sure. Why not? I love the one where he comes back somewhere in the 2000s. The original Paul comes back and starts making albums again. Because if you realize that the theory on this is he starts looking different around the Garden album. Sorry, I was scanning. The one before this one with a chair. I don't know the names of the albums. Memory Almost Full. Sorry, I had to actually pull it out from the shelf to see what it was. But the album before that is where it's like, no, it's original Paul again. So I don't know.
I like how you just have all the Beatles albums right in front of you in case you need to pull one out at a moment's notice.
That's right. That wasn't a joke. I can also do it with Johnny Cash, by the way.
You got some David Allan Coe in there?
I have a country set. Was he on Columbia? There might be a David Allan Coe in there if it's Columbia. No, if you remember when CDs started to kind of bite the bullet, they sell these 25 album sets of jazz or the Beatles or Johnny Cash and stuff. So I just scarf those up and I have a wall of those here now.
How do you have room for all this stuff in these tiny houses?
That's a good question. Yeah, that is a good question. Well, look at Misato's house. How does she fit all that beer in there?
It was basically a beer storage facility.
Yes. That is the thing that still kind of blows my mind about this show. Just usually anything post-apocalyptic shows the shambles of society, whereas Japanese society is still holding together in Evangelion, which just is weird to me.
Yeah, it's not really post-apocalyptic. And then also in this episode, I think more than the first 2 so far, we see a full-on battle in the city. So people retreat from the city, they go into bunkers, they go into hiding, and then this angel comes through that's fighting the Eva, and the angel has these weird laser whips, and as it kind of moves these around, he'll whip through a building, and the building will just slice in half and fall down. I mean, are we talking this city is being decimated and now hundreds of people have lost their homes and businesses?
I would think so. What I have a note. Oh, I said the suburbs are screwed, right? Because the main city center is protected and it retracts underground, right? So
yeah. So I mean, we don't really see a lot of the devastation. I mean, you see the building get sliced in half, but it almost feels like it's all props. It almost that same kind of kaiju feeling where the building gets trampled, but in the back of your head you're I know that's just a cardboard building. No one's actually losing any sleep over this. And I'm getting that same feel in this thing, is that these buildings are so expendable. They're just like a building you can't enter in a video game, where like you don't really care what happens to it after it's no longer on the screen.
So I feel like one of the weirdly most effective, and this could be kaiju or disaster movie for both, would be the third Transformers movie. There's a scene where they go through an office level of a building that's being destroyed, and the office is filled with people. And it's one of the only times you've seen that, you know, and you're like, wow, that is intense, you know? Like that
and
sucks.
The King Kong remakes, I think, and one of the first King Kong remakes, they did a decent job. And don't kill me for even bringing this movie up, but the original Godzilla remake with Matthew Broderick in the early 2000s, I think that one also had a scene that did a pretty good job of like, hey, these buildings are filled with people that are now about to get destroyed.
97, but yeah, it's not the worst movie. It's just like they do it so much better in Japan. Even the newer ones, I enjoy the Universal monster movies. Skull Island, loved it, right? But it's still like, have you seen a Godzilla minus?
No, not yet.
Holy crap, that's good. Yeah, I just had forgotten the title, but it's a great. Like they put that out right before the last American kaiju movie, and the American one's fun. Like Godzilla versus Kong 2, is that what it's called? The titles are getting super confusing for these. Fun movie, but you're like, I just saw one of the best Godzilla movies ever, and this is just like dumb, right? So
I do kind of hate the naming convention of these, where now it's like, oh, you can't watch Godzilla XY09 before you watch B734. Like, you got to know a secret code just to know exactly what order to even watch them in.
And then your head pops, right? This episode also shows you. Well, actually, I think you've basically explained the plot, which is mostly Shinji's not making friends and we have another angel attack. But it is weird that this goes for like yet another anime genre for much of its running time. The first one is whatever it is, right? The intro episode. The last one was that weird one with Masato hitting on Shinji and getting apocalyptically drunk, right? And this one's like, now it's like a high school drama. So, which high school animes are super popular, you know? So,
yeah, what age group is this particular series made for? Is it made for the high school age group, or do the targeting demographics of anime not work the same as they do over here?
Short answer, I would say it's not the same. I'm trying to see like when this actually aired. Like
when this came out in the 90s, were there 40 and 50 and 60-year-olds that were like, oh yeah, this is my jam?
I mean, I come downstairs a lot, and my 75-year-old father-in-law is, you know, reading manga, so which you don't feel like you see much in the States. So that would be my short answer. I'm trying to find anything here that really suggests who it was aimed at, because now that you're saying it, I'm like, man, I really don't know. Like, I'm thinking guys in Akihabara. Do you know Akihabara, Electric City?
No, God bless you.
Yeah, it's central Tokyo. It's like one or two stations from Tokyo Station, and had a bunch of electronic stores, and that brought all the geeks into town. And that, you know, so they also have like lots of model shops. If you want to buy like real sexy Evangelion figures, you'll find them all over Akihabara. But, you know, and then you get a bunch of like kind of weird guys shuffling, like you get a bunch of Shinji shuffling around basically, and ogling the J-pop ads. Oh, here we go. Perfect Blue. We watched Perfect Blue. The fans of whatever the group was, that was like the Akihabara crowd. That was fans of the group in Perfect Blue.
See, in Perfect Blue, there's a much easier age group that I think that it's for. It feels like that one's for like the 16 or the 18 up. Like that one's kind of made for adult, not necessarily high school kids. Whereas this one, you could tell me it was made with high school kids in mind, and I'd believe you. And you could also tell me it was made for adults in mind, and I'd believe you.
Okay, here is a statement from the director Hideaki Anno. Said, early in the production, he stated his intent was to have Evangelion increase the number of anime fans, named otaku in Japanese, that's the Akihabara crowd, and attract interest in the anime medium, bringing a breath of fresh air to the mecha genre. So it seems like he wanted to like endorphin people aged about 16 to 24, was because that would be the main otaku crowd, a little bit older and there's kids, you know, like high school up to early mid-20s probably.
And when he's talking about the mech aesthetic, is this because and just forgive me if I'm going to refer to Voltron. I'm sure it was something else, but like the Voltron did seem more juvenile. So that one easily could have catered to like an 8-year-old, whereas this one maybe caters a little bit older.
Also, because you watched Voltron in America, the Japanese Voltron is a little bit more intense. I can't say specifically for Voltron, but are you familiar with Star Blazers, Space Battleship Yamato? It's a 70s, great series, by the way. I almost thought about suggesting that one, but I thought I maybe suggest something that wasn't from the 70s, you know? But that's where Earth is apocalyptically screwed. Like everyone's living underground, and they take the old battleship Yamato and refit it to be a spaceship, and they're going to go on this journey, 2-year journey, to get like whatever MacGuffin they need to save the Earth or whatever.
Okay, this sounds a little like the new Star Wars Skeleton Crew series.
I didn't see that one, but maybe that's the case. Anyway, that one has a robot that is sexually harassing the one female crew member. There's a lot of death. When they put it on TV as Star Blazers, they totally took all that stuff out for the American audience. So it was like 30% more juvenile now. And I'm guessing, I think they did that with Voltron to a certain extent too. The big mech series before this, I guess there's Gundam, which I don't know. I'm not a mech guy. I don't know much about mechs. There's Gundam, which also a lot of models and stuff. I did ride a Gundam theme park attraction once without knowing anything about what Gundam was really. So that was kind of fun.
Was that a TV series too?
A TV series, manga, movies, you name it in Japan. It's one of their big mech property. And a Robotech. You've seen Robotech models and RPGs and stuff.
Robotech. So does this show, is this trying to compete with those or elevate those? Because he said it was talking about like elevating the mech.
Yeah, elevating the mech to make it like, I think either it is a little more juvenile. Like Voltron is the more juvenile side of mech. Like I guess Robotech is the more adult side, but at the same time, it's just very like, you know, like tech headed. So the idea, that's why we're throwing so much things like, you know, Kabbalistic trees into the credits and stuff, right? To make it and to elevate it, make it seem deeper, that sort of thing.
Seem deeper.
That's we're going to see if it is or not as we go. But yeah, because we are detouring into these weird subgenres of anime right now. It's like he wants to make sure that like, okay, let's pick up the anime fans. I don't know if this is a 90s thing, but definitely is now. There's the boys love genre, which is like boys having like not quite sexual affairs in high school, and then it's a manga, and weirdly it's like junior high girls like to read these. So
kids these days. Yeah, this one I'm still trying to get my footing on how deep the symbolism and the meaning and all this stuff, because right now the deepest part of the show seems to be the credits.
Maybe we'll see. And I was talking with one of my friends a few days ago, and I was saying when you're doing this, and he was suggesting also the reason we didn't go for this is it's way too long, but a Full Metal Alchemist is a little more direct with making.
I actually did watch that one.
Homunculuses and stuff.
Yeah, that one I liked, but it was, again, I guess it was a little bit more leaning into the occult stuff, but I didn't understand any of it. Like it just felt like, oh, cool. They talked about a grimoire and a homunculus, and they're clearly looking at some sort of Enochian sigils, and then they would go off and make some logical conclusion based on all this stuff, and I was lost immediately.
Like I don't like the Evangelion, I guess, doesn't have like quite, you know, Disney Ghibli level pervasiveness in Japanese culture. I would put it at, say, I don't know, Minion level pervasiveness. Like everyone knows the Minions, but not everyone is like fully familiar with the Minions, you know? I don't really know much about the Minions. I've only seen that first movie. I don't know if we've had this discussion here before, but this is a very anti-Minion household because Despicable Me and Megamind came out at the same time, and we were massive fans of Megamind. So then when everyone forgot about Megamind and the Minions became super popular, we were like super pissed at the Minions.
You're like Megamind hipsters over there.
We're Megamind hipsters for sure, yeah. Unrepentant
cool. You
Megamind
like Minions.
hipsters.
Well, I like something a little bit cooler than that. You might not have heard of it.
Yeah, I like it a little edgier. Megamind. Well, his Minion is much edgier. It's like what? It's a gorilla with a floating fish in a brain suit or something like that. I don't quite remember, but it's freaking weird. That's what it is. Anyway, yeah. here we do a little bit like at the end of this where it's like he does call just that's very much like that felt like a boys love manga or anime. A few years ago my daughter was maybe still end of elementary school, so she was like 11 or 12 and I took her to the anime store. Animate is the name of the chain, and it was funny because I was like, oh, don't look that way, Hana's embarrassed you're looking in that direction. I'm looking over, it's like maybe like Evangelion, like, you know, ladies in skin tight suits. So I turn, oh, Hana's embarrassed. Now you're looking at like the boys love section. Every time I would turn, she'd be embarrassed because of the direction I was like looking. So it's like, well, every direction's embarrassing at the manga store. So I just walked outside for a while.
You put on the little like blinders like you're a horse.
Really, I almost had to. By the way, just because of the high school stuff, my alternate title of this was Apocalyptic Breakfast Club. I mean, I guess the school feels slightly apocalyptic in that they said since the city's constantly under attack from Angel Kaiju, you know, what, 80% of the students have now left, which makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think I would keep going to school.
No, that's the weird thing because it's not really. It is the post-apocalypse. They said what 80% of the world has been killed in this episode. They said the second impact killed 80% of the world. I think, right? So it's just so weird that they have this little bit of society that they've like rebuilt and feels like normal Japan.
They're taking it well to the point where bullies still feel like comfortable just being regular old school bullies, even though 80% of the population is gone. I don't know. I almost feel like there would be less bullying.
I mean, I guess they were, you know, born or small children around that time when the world basically ended, right? So are they like the adults almost be like 100% fully traumatized, right? And the kids to a certain extent too, but the adults would remember before and after, where the kids would only remember this.
Yeah, kids it would feel crowded if they saw what another 80% looked like.
But here I'm like, I've climbed temple stairs. When it's 5 p.m. or whatever, they have the if you have a bell tone, right? And that plays all the time in Japan. So depending on where you are, talking about Space Battleship Yamato again, it was funny that the alarm on the ship, they had an alarm, you know, like red alert or whatever. And I was watching Space Battleship Yamato because I didn't have work a few days after the 2011 quake, right? So I was like, watching that, and there were aftershocks, and the local elementary school would sound an alarm for when there was supposed to be an aftershock. It was exact same alarm. So I'm watching it on the, like, you know, there's an alien ship, and then I'd hear the same thing out the window. I'm like, what's happening? So yeah, these public service sounds that you've heard in Your Name, that you've heard here, these are just, you hear, that's like baked into Japanese culture. Any Japanese person hearing that is like just very familiar with that sound.
That's fair. I mean, like even like U.S. cops have a very specific siren or like little chirp noises that you'll hear constantly. In fact, it's the reason why I can't listen to some albums. It's usually rap albums, but I can't listen to some albums because they'll just like throw a police siren like in the middle of an intro somewhere, and it always kind of throws me off. So I just can't listen to them in the car now.
Bomb Squad's out. NWA's out. Yeah. I'm usually on the train. I can handle it. Yeah, siren. Well, I still have that if I'm playing like Public Enemy or something. I hear those. Oh crap! Is there a cop? In Japan's even more whack. I think the sirens are a little different. But also, police cars will just drive around with their red lights flashing. They have red lights in Japan. So the ambulances and police have the same colored lights. And police will just drive around with the lights on. Not the siren on, but the lights are on, which is kind of confusing, especially if they're behind you. For an American especially, it's confusing. Do I have to pull over, you know?
Yeah, is it the same feeling as in the States and a cop gets behind you and you're like, oh no, I hope he's not having a bad day. Like anything could be wrong right now.
I don't know. I don't know for a Japanese person. That's the thing. For Japanese folks, I couldn't say. For me, yeah, I'm American. Like if I'm on the street and I see a cop, I'm still like, let's avoid the cop a little bit. Not carrying a gun. He's just got a billy club. He probably doesn't, the cops usually don't mess with you. In Tokyo, they will stop foreigners occasionally and check for passports or IDs or something, which is a little harassing. But I've had that happen before. Usually if you're with someone or if you're like drinking on the street or smoking on the street, which isn't like illegal most places, but the cops might decide to, hassle you a bit and at least just look at your ID.
If you're smoking on the street, if you're just walking around smoking a cigarette?
Now maybe you can't do that anyway, but 10 years ago you still could. It was much later in Japan than you could in the States, but you can drink on the street most places in Japan. It's like a big deal that you can't in like Shinjuku and Shibuya because they have like the New Year's parties and stuff. So, or they used to. But yeah, the Shibuya would have the New Year's parties, the Halloween parties, and in recent years they've gotten very footloose about it, and as in the the nasty people in Footloose and trying to get everyone to not come for Halloween and New Year's. So they've passed not laws, but what's the word I'm looking for? Statutes that you can no longer drink on the streets in those areas of Tokyo.
Or you get billy clubbed.
Or you get now you can get billy club maybe. Well, they during these now they have police cars parked in the middle of the street. It's been closed to traffic because people still come, and then you just have like cops like with bullhorns like being buzzkills in the cars, like you should not be crowding the area. Why don't you go home and celebrate there? I don't know exactly what they're saying. I have never gone to these anyway, but yeah, it is kind of weird. That's where maybe society does hold together, because like after the 2011 thing, we didn't have like looting and things. People kind of contracted a bit, and so it is kind of a Japanese thing to do, I guess. But this still seems like too much. 80% of the world's gone. Most of Japan's, or a lot of Japan's, probably underwater, and we're just like going to the community center and the local high school. It's a little weird.
And bullying each other.
Yeah, well, people are always going to bully, right? I mean, so Battleship Galactica, they're bullying each other.
Yeah, something to look forward to. Even if the world ends and 80% of humanity is decimated, you're still going to have a bully at school.
Oh, one more note in this. I don't know if I noticed this in the first, or just didn't notice this in the first two episodes, but Ava's fingers are like human.
Yeah, I know. I saw that because he grabbed onto one of those laser tentacles and he was like holding it for a few minutes. It seemed like when he pulled it away, he's a black man under there.
Yeah. But it's human hands, which we didn't see that in the first two, right? Or we didn't notice? I think we didn't see.
We didn't see, but what we did see was that when he first, I think, bound, maybe in the first episode, when Shinji first bound to it, his eyes like turned human at a certain point. And that's when there was ascribing that it's not just pure mech, that there's like an organic layer to this thing, to this Eva.
Yeah, so I do think as we get a little more occult into it, that's going to probably be one of the main scratches to itch, itches to scratch, however you're supposed to say it.
What if you were Unit 001 and you are some kind of organic thing, but you're a pacifist, but this little 14-year-old like jacks himself inside your chest and makes you fight your brothers and sisters?
Well, 23 more episodes, see where they take that.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
I guess we'll wrap up the Apocalyptic Breakfast Club. I'm renaming this episode that, but anything else you want to throw on it?
No, I mean, I'm still looking forward to the other 23 episodes and see how far they can bring this story and how much we can really hate Shinji. Right now, on a scale from 1 to 10, he's coming in at like a 3, and I'm being very generous.
Yeah, as I said, I'm just like, this is this is just
literally everyone else. I like his dad more than I like him, and I know that his dad's an asshole.
He reminds me of kids that I don't dislike but aren't fun to teach.
Yeah.
Like the kid I was talking about earlier, where when I said he's like being a black hole to class, it's not like he's bad or anything. He's just like, he's not fun to teach, and that makes the class less fun. So that Shinji would not be fun to teach in that high school. I definitely do not see him endearing himself to the teacher, even though there's only 4 people in the class.
The bar is low and he's still not meeting it.
Yes. Okay, well, as we wrap up, I guess give people a quick heads up to where you hanging out on the internets and such.
You can jack into paranoidamerican.com. You can also go on Amazon all across the world and search for Paranoid American and find some stuff, including a brand new coloring book. Unless you're listening to this before it gets approved, but in the next week or so, Illuminati Animals coloring book, guaranteed to be the best and only Illuminati Animals coloring book on all of Amazon.
No Ava's in there though.
Not yet. There is a xenomorph in there though.
Okay.
Like,
good.
We couldn't find a lot of other animals that started with the letter X. There's a few, but none of them were cool enough.
Right. Over on my end, I do podcasting at podcastopodcastyes.org. It's also at Patreon. You can look for it there. You can look for it, on your podcatchers. We just did the Twilight Zone on Time Enough podcast. Planet of the Apes over at Podcast 1999. And in Prison, we a few years ago, we did the 60s TV show, The Prisoner, which is a good show for any conspiracy head. And we've actually reignited that feed by the time you're hearing this, we've reignited that feed to cover the more recent show Severance, because we're like there's some similarities. You could put Severance and Imprisoned in prison, so we're running with that right now. So go dig that. Get back to school. Wait for your phone to ring. Wait, answer the call. That's Ghostbusters. Oops.
Spread the word with propaganda packs, all for just $40 shipped at paranoidamerican.com.
Paranoid propaganda packs. We got facts on these sticker slaps. So grab yourself a stack and go attack with these paranoid propaganda packs.
These huge all-weather slaps will last in public for years to come. Remind citizens that birds are not real. Self-immolation is an option, and might make you magnetic. Do your part and get a propaganda pack today from paranoidamerican.com.
Yeah, paranoid propaganda packs. We got facts on these sticker slaps. So grab yourself a stack and go attack with these paranoid propaganda packs.
What are you waiting for? Go to paranoidamerican.com right now and get a paranoid propaganda pack.
Paranoid. I scribble my life away, driven to write the page. Will it enlighten your brain? Give you the flight, my plane, paper, the highs ablaze. Somewhat of an amazing feel when it's real to real. You will engage it. Your favorite, of course, the Lord of an arrangement. I gave you the proper results to hit the pavement. If they get emotional, hey, maybe your language, a game, how they playing it well without Lakers. Evade them, whatever the cost, they are the shapeshift. Snakes get decapitated, met is the apex. Execution of flame you out. Nuclear bomb distributed at war, rather gruesome for eyes to see. Max them out, then I light my trees. Blow it off in the face, you're despising me for what though? Calculated and rather cutthroat. Paranoid American must be all the blunt smoke for real. Lord, give me a day away, vacate. They wait around to hate whatever they say. Matters not in the least bit. We get heavy rotate when a beat hits, so thank us, you're welcome. Fuck the niggas for real, you're welcome. They ain't never had a deal. You're welcome. Man, they lacking appeal. You're welcome. Yet they doing it still. You're welcome.